3, 2, 1. I thought I had an intro and then I didn't. I realized I just did it before. But this is a new one by me saying that, actually. I was just about to do the Jackass one. I was like, wait, I did that. So, whatever.
Oh.
That was my own special intro, actually. That was a unique, never before done intro.
Yeah, you're allowed 3 of these. Yeah.
Yeah, well, this is the only one.
Spare ones.
The other one was different. Hi, I'm Adam from Your Movie Sucks. This is Sardonicast, and this is a very organized podcast.
I'm Rob Seppi.
I'm Alex G, but that's not all. We're joined also by Raven. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Raven.
What is your thing that you do?
Okay. There's such a long pause after that.
Yeah.
So I have a channel on YouTube where I have 2 series right now. One is called The Bobdunga Show. I do analysis videos and obscure game reviews. And the newest series is called Tales of the Lost, which is a cinematic docu-series where I investigate lost media. So just think like geeky Nancy Drew.
So I've got a couple questions for you. First, where does the name Bobdunga come from?
Yeah, please tell us.
Oh, God. Okay, well, I came up with it when I was, I think, 13 or 14.
One of those.
Yeah, it was one of those names. I got my first PlayStation 3 and I wanted to go on the Live network, but I was scared of like people identifying me and telling me to make a sandwich. You know how it goes.
Yeah.
So I had to come up with a really sexually ambiguous name and it just kind of stuck afterwards.
Yeah. It's a good name. I like Bobdunga. First, I wasn't sure how to pronounce it. I was like, Bobdunga? I was a little
It's
confused.
very southern.
What do you mean by that? Is it like a real name?
No,
Yeah,
it's
what?
just if you just read it, it's like, you know, Bobdunga. You know what I mean?
Okay. I get it. Yeah. For anybody who hasn't checked out the Bobdunga show or Raven's channel,
Thank you.
basically, yeah, there's the Mean Girls game for the Nintendo DS was considered lost media. So there were trailers,
Yes.
maybe not even trailers, like promotional material. There was evidence of a game that was about to come out. It was listed in some magazines or something, and then it never did. And so there was a debate on the internet as to whether or not the game actually existed. And Raven did some detective work and actually was able to acquire like an unfinished version of the game because somebody who had worked on it still had the files or something and watched part 1 of your video or something crazy like that. Can you give a little summary? I don't know if I was doing that accurately.
No, that's pretty on point. So the first docuseries that I did was about the whole Mandela effect of the Mean Girls game because people didn't know whether or not it was just this big hoax or if it was a legitimate game because there was literally nothing on it except for I think one eTalk News announcement or something really obscure like that. But my first video is about me diving into the whole mystery of it, and I didn't end up finding it the first time. I actually found a Clueless game, which was also lost media, and someone who worked on Mean Girls ended up seeing that video, and he talked with someone else at the company, and, you know, they were like, okay, let's give her the game. But it was a really, really... it was not finished. It was like a very unfinished version of it. So I had to jump through a lot of hoops to get someone to help me to debug it. And then, I just posted it to my channel.
That's awesome. I love.
You were in the video.
I love YouTube content that can actually like, you know, almost kind of like break a story or like investigate or like provide new information on a subject. I'm a big fan of that kind of thing. Lots of effort, obviously. These are long videos. If you like long effort videos, go check out her channel.
Especially when it's obscure stuff like lost media, like them, especially like DS era type games. Like I think I kind of care about game preservation and that side of it. So I've always had that on my mind.
Yeah.
But there must be like just thousands of these like DS games that just have no backup, no history, just lost to time.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of shovelware. Like that's the biggest thing.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
What is the definition for shovelware again?
It's like, like on the Wii, they'd release all those like totally trash games that were literally made in like a month or less. That you just, shovelware, just shoveling stuff. Like app stores are like absolutely full of shovelware. Like it's just a nightmare.
Yeah.
And then just abandonware is things that I guess are no longer supported and you can't buy anymore anywhere. So like there's some games where, no matter how badly you want to purchase a copy legally, there's no way you're able to because the company isn't selling it anymore. And so I think that's considered abandonware. There's a website called myabandonware.com that I've gotten some old games off of. And basically how they operate, from what I understand, is they'll host like the original games, not cracked versions, but like just like, oh, you can download this, and then if you need a key, that's your own, you can figure out how to get that. But just as a way to like preserve them.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's really, I think it's probably still illegal, but I guess they're trying to like make it justifiable sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I think Silent Hill 4 used to be on there, and then Silent Hill 4 got added to GOG Galaxy, that like Steam kind of service. And so then when you try and see Silent Hill 4 on My Abandonware, it just goes like, oh, we're not hosting this anymore, because now you can actually buy it somewhere, which is kind of cool. It's like, I like the idea of like, hey, we're only providing this service because no one can get this anywhere and it has to be preserved. Like there's a lot of value in preserving art, no matter what it is, no matter what the quality or, how the art is. I think it's important to have that, like, historically. I think, just for people to be able to experience something. And unfortunately, video games is like a huge one, because it's not like, oh, it's just like a movie. You can just, keep a VHS or transfer it to another, format, or just have it as a digital file somewhere. Like, these are things that you'd need to properly code to have, like, emulators to have on newer consoles, even on PC. I try playing old games on PC. It's just like, it doesn't work anymore. You have to jump through so many hoops to get shit working now. It's insane. Preservation of video
and
games.
then it's like equally as difficult when you have people that come together to try to bring these games back to light, and then they get like struck down by the developers who just don't really understand the importance of preservation.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, or like Halo Online that came out a few years ago. Like some fans managed to get the Russian only version of Halo Online working.
That was awesome. That was like,
yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah, that was an example where, like, I'm pretty sure that helped to get Halo on PC, because that was so popular that they had to take notice and be like, oh, I guess there's a market for Halo on PC. Maybe we should just push this out, And then everybody stopped playing Halo Online as soon as they released like MCC on PC and like all that other shit. So it's like, okay, well,
Wasn't it also fan intervention that got the Scott Pilgrim game to come back, or something? It was like something like that. There was a really popular Scott Pilgrim game, and then it became lost media for a while, or not lost media. What was that term that you used?
Abandonware?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was on PS3 because I got it on there. But then I don't think I could access it for a while or something like that, because didn't the PlayStation Store go offline?
Is there an earlier version you're talking about with Scott Pilgrim, or
no,
just
the PlayStation 3 one that's the first one.
That was the Abandonware?
Because that's when the movie came out.
Okay.
Yeah, so they I couldn't get it again even though I paid for it. But then I guess they re-released it on PS4. I just bought it again, and I guess that's what you guys mean. I think that's what happened, though. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, because a lot of people were like, oh, I missed the Scott Pilgrim game. And then I think maybe they were listening, good. And then,
yeah, it was good. It's a good game.
I want them to put PT back on the Sony store, the PlayStation store.
Yeah. Have you seen how much like PS4s go with them installed?
Yeah, with PT preloaded on it? Yeah. That's insane. Yeah. I have a PS4 with PT on it. And I think
really?
Yeah, I did the whole transfer my console to another console thing, so I might have two with PT on it now. I'm not sure how it works. So
okay, you've got an artifact.
Yeah,
it's just
crazy.
If the PS4 does, it goes with it. So you got to take
so
care of
they're only going to get more valuable, I guess. But I don't know. I'm not
that game. Okay.
I love collecting like physical media and stuff and like rare things, but like I'm not one of those you can never open it sort of people. I'm kind of like, yeah, I'll open it. I want that. I have it so I can use it, sort of thing. I'll keep it in good condition, but I'm not looking to resell it. Like, I don't care if I destroy the value of it because I'm not reselling it. Like, it's for me. So you made a video, Raven, on DVD video games, which I enjoyed quite a bit. And I'm wondering if...
I saw your comments on there, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'm wondering if Ralph or Alex or, we could just have a conversation about, like, if you remember playing games on DVDs, because that was a very nostalgic thing for me to watch.
Yeah.
No, that's not ringing a bell.
No?
Explain
Oh, you
it.
guys are so
Oh.
young.
No, I don't remember ever
Not
playing.
even, like-
So you're saying, like, what kind of games? Like,
So
what
on, like,
platformers?
family movies, like,
yeah,
usually kids
so it should be
movies.
like on like side B or whatever, or just like one CD. There's like a bonus feature where it has little mini games, but they're like really basic games that have really low quality AMVs on
Yeah.
them.
So like so a lot of them will be like kind of choose your own adventure sort of thing, but they'll just be like a really crappy 3D render. So the Lion King
Yeah.
DVD will be like, we have a safari tour, and then you're just like it's like you're on like a, I don't know, like a Disney wheeled, not quite roller coaster ride, and it's like, oh no, there's things over that way. Which way should we go? And Timon will like look at you, and you just like click the button or whatever.
Oh,
Yeah, like click the left or right remote
Yeah.
button.
Yeah, and they'll get some like
this is
different voice
triggering like
actors.
I haven't thought
Oh,
about
okay,
this
okay.
concept in like decades. Yeah, it's like flooding back to me now. Do you have any like examples of like classic ones you loved? I'm trying to think.
Yes. So I grew up in a household where we had a limited amount of games, so we would be replaying them over and over. And whenever we got bored of that, we would pull out all the DVDs and play the DVD games. So my favorite one is probably The Lion King Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, but also there was this really weird Grinch game. If you have a Grinch DVD, there's like a weird game where you answer trivia questions, and every time you get an answer right, it plays a scene from the movie that sort of makes you... Like, it plays a scene from a movie that makes you feel like it's, like, answering the question for you. So, like, let's say you get the answer right. Then the Grinch will say, like, fabulous, or something stupid like that.
Sounds just kind of horrifying. To
Believe it or not, there was a DVD game for Final Destination 3 where
Really?
Disc 2
Wow.
Disc 2 was choose your own adventure, basically, and they filmed like a handful of extra like short moments within scenes to do this DVD game. And
I feel like I remember that.
oh, it was so weird
Vaguely.
because I played it
that's
once.
kind of cool though.
And
Yeah.
Were they death scenes?
sorry?
Were they, like, death scenes in the game? or-
I only played it once, and I,
think
didn't
so.
really.
I think it's like different deaths.
There were like I don't even know. I couldn't tell you. I played it
Sounds
once,
cool.
and I got one of the same deaths with like just like a tiny scene beforehand. Like it might have been even just been a shortened scene from the film. It was really really weird. So basically, in the context of the normal film, just the regular feature, there's like the gym scene. And one of the guys is like working out of the gym, and then the two people that know that death is coming after them, they're like, "Oh, you're next." They like run to the gym, and he's like, "You guys are lying, and you're stupid, and you're gullible." And there's this whole Rube Goldberg machine where something hits a wall, and like the water fountain's next to an electrical outlet, and then it loosens something on the shelf, and there's like a sword display, and then it cuts the wire connecting the weight, and then when he uses the weight, because the sword had cut that and he didn't notice it, then the weight smashes in on his head. So I play the DVD game, and we get to that part, and I don't know why this happened. We get to that part, and it shows the death, but without the Rube Goldberg machine element. So the characters just show up to the gym, and he's like, "Hey, how's it going?" And the weight just smashes his head immediately. And I was like, "What?" I was like, there was nothing to... Why did that happen? It was like the weirdest thing, and I just stopped playing because it was so stupid. That was like... I got to that death, and I was like, none of this makes any sense. Like, it was... yeah. I don't know why they designed it like that. They got rid of the
was
whole...
that the Final Destination
Goldberg,
with
yeah,
the
element.
black guy on the machine?
Yeah.
Okay, because that
Yeah.
one...
Yeah,
that
the
one is like a
exercise
deep
machine.
memory. Yeah, that one actually
Yeah.
scared the crap out of me.
That's one of my least favorite ones, probably.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Like the weird juicer
they're all
guy.
pretty
Just like,
bad.
We got some movie news. This happened a
happened?
few weeks ago. Ralph has an article, I guess. It's kind of
Is this what you what I sent you guys before?
Yeah.
I can't believe we forgot to mention it like last episode, but I sent it to you. Okay, so Raven, you haven't heard about this, right? So it's Vin Diesel. We talked about him before. He's had some trouble in the past. I don't know. Maybe Adam, you could say like what happened before.
He's in a franchise called Fast and the Furious. The Rock was in a few of them. The Rock was no longer in any of them, and then Vin Diesel posted to Instagram this weird public plea for The Rock to return to the franchise. And basically just being like kind of a manipulative piece of shit, being like, oh, my kids love you, and oh, you're my best friend in the world, and we're so close. How could you do this? And the series can't go on without you. It's not the same. And we're just such close friends. And it's like, well, why are you doing this publicly? And then like The Rock came out and was like, yeah, Vin Diesel is kind of like a manipulator. Like it just flat out said this is really kind of weird. Like you shouldn't be doing this. Why would you do this publicly? We could And now, what's
and
the
now
new part?
most recently, Justin Lin, the director of like a lot of these Fast and Furious movies, he left the 10th one. He quit, and it's reportedly, according to the Daily News, difficulty with Vin Diesel. That was
oh my god.
So I'll just read like a little bit. Justin Lin quit as director of Fast 10 because star Vin Diesel is so difficult, according to a source with knowledge on the situation. Through filming had already begun, Lin, who directed 5 of the Fast and Furious movies, he directed 5 of them, abruptly quit last week without explaining why and without a replacement. And then there's a quote from like one of the producers. I've never seen anything like it. Lynn's turning down like $10 or $20 million. And then this is what a source says. Vin Diesel shows up to set late. I'll read it exactly. Sorry. Diesel shows up late to set. He doesn't know his lines, and he shows up out of shape. So that's basically it.
Yeah.
And it mentions all the other stuff, with The Rock. He kind of he quit the franchise a while ago. He made a spin-off movie, but, I think it was partly because of Vin Diesel. Like Vin Diesel seems like the kind of common thread, like the common problem.
I have so many questions. Like, I thought he was rivals with him, first of all. Also, why is he acting like Kanye West? That is so weird.
He's being really weird.
He needs to be more professional.
Oh my god. They're just going to call the movie Fam because it's just going to be him, like singular.
Well, like, what are they going to do now? They don't have like a director. What's they don't have The Rock anymore. Yeah. It's like these key ingredients of like the Fast and Furious movies, why the past ones have worked so well.
Mm-hmm.
All they have is cars. That's it.
They have Vin Diesel. They have Michelle Rodriguez. They have cars, and that's it. I don't know. They might not even make it. If they do, it's not going to be like good. They're losing money right now.
There's no way that it's not going to come together. Like, surely directing one of these Fast and Furious movies would be like one of the easiest jobs ever, right? Surely. Like, there's like no rules within this universe. Like, you can basically just do whatever. It's like you just get the billboard out and write, okay, we're going to space in the next one. Yeah, it's just so absurd, and there's no rules, and it's just so dumb. Like, it must have been a big deal to turn away like 20 million paycheck for that, especially after doing 5. He's already done this 4 times before, or 5 times before.
Yeah.
Here's a paragraph from The Hollywood Reporter covering this. Diesel had become his own personality to be reckoned with at this point in the Fast franchise. He long ago had become the dominant force and was not afraid to flex his ample muscle. His clash with Dwayne Johnson led the former superstar wrestler to leave the franchise, even rebuffing public outreach. And the writing process for the movies was unorthodox, to say the least. Insiders say writers would pen action sequences, and Diesel would say yes or no to them, leaving to the director the job of making them fit, or not if Diesel changed his mind. The whole process is a mosaic that never stops moving, says one insider who has seen the making of several Fast movies up close. So that seems kind of annoying to like have.
I always forget. I forget the pull Vin Diesel has. It's weird. I was looking just out of curiosity the other day at like the most liked Facebook pages in the world, and one of them is Vin Diesel's page.
Wow.
He's like crazy popular. So yeah, I guess he's just wielding his power.
I mean, which is weird because he's not really doing anything but Fast movies, right? He's not like
Yeah, it's that and Groot.
he's just
like,
that.
What else is?
Oh, he's Gru.
Yeah, that's
He's like
it.
briefly in the same.
Oh wait, sorry, Groot,
Like
not Gru. Sorry.
No, that's Steve Carell.
Groot.
Yeah.
Groot. All he says is, "I am Groot." Yeah, that's his other.
He was
He's
good in
Riddick.
the Iron Giant, but he only had
He's
like
the Iron Giant.
That's
right?
a long
How could
time
you forget
ago.
Riddick though? Yeah.
All those things are a long time ago. If
Babylon,
as soon as Fast and
Babylon
Furious
AD.
disappears, Vin Diesel's not really doing anything except Groot, right? Like, if this franchise dies, then his career is like not really active. That's my understanding.
and Groot has such limited dialogue. Like he
Yeah,
just
they
says his
get him
name.
in studio for like 20 minutes.
Right.
Like,
I am Groot. Right. But that's not a
We
bad
think
gig.
it's 20
I mean,
minutes. We actually
should
think
be
it's
happy
20
with
minutes,
that.
but he's probably in there for an hour with them. Like,
Yeah,
let's
yeah.
be real.
Yeah, if not less.
yeah, not
Yeah,
not
especially
very
hearing
long.
about this. Especially hearing about people not wanting to work with him, like The Rock and the director here, Justin Lin.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
I wonder how the 10th one will turn out. I hope that's the last one. Because I actually like the 7th one. And then
Are they
after
going to
there, I
space
think it
in
kinda-
the
Did you
10th
see
one or
9
not?
though?
Kinda down.
Like,
9? Yeah, 9
was slightly
sucked.
better than 8, but yeah, they
I
both
forgot
sucked.
there was even a 9th one. Like, that's how...
Yeah, that
John
was the
Cena was
space
in
one,
it.
right?
Is Ludacris still in the Fast and Furious
Yeah.
movies?
Yeah.
I think so.
Damn.
Yeah,
God
he's
damn.
knocking around.
Christopher Bridges.
I think the last one I saw was the CGI Paul Walker, I think. That was a while
Yeah,
ago.
7.
Oh, 7,
Yeah.
yeah. The
That's
peak
the
of
last
franchise.
good one.
It's a good one.
if you
That's
you
the
want to...
Aquaman one.
Wait, did they go to space in Fast 9?
Yeah.
Okay, that actually
Yeah.
happened.
Tyrese goes
Oh,
to space.
God.
The one I forgot
They
about.
could have just called it Fast Space 9 and just left it like that.
Mm.
Could have just called it Space Jam.
They should be calling it Fast 10 Your Seatbelts for that one, the last one.
Or Fast X. Could do one of
Yeah.
those.
Oh, here's a fun game. Without even looking it up, you're not allowed to cheat. Name
Mhm.
the Fast and Furious movies by title
Oh,
in
God.
order.
I can do
order.
that. I could definitely
No.
do that.
No, you can do that, Ralph?
You want
All
me
right,
to
Ralph,
start?
go for it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll pull it up.
Do it.
From the first one?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
so it's... I think it's Fast and Furious. That's the first one. Right? Then it's Too Fast, Too Furious. I'm not
Okay,
looking,
yeah.
I swear.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
sounds
Then
right,
it's
sounds right.
then it's Tokyo Drift. It's
yeah,
Fast
yeah.
and Furious.
Tokyo Drift, nice.
Then it's The Fast and The Furious. Then it's Fast 5. Then it's Fast and Furious 6, I think. Then it's just Furious 7. And then it's Fate of the Furious. And then it's F9. And then whatever this 10th one is. That's right? I think I got it.
You mixed up 1 and 4. Unfortunately, the first film
1
was
and 4.
The Fast and the Furious.
That one's... Yeah, that's the
and
one I
4
messed
was
up.
Fast
Okay.
and Furious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, I was really thinking about it like
Yeah.
the first one. I'm like, oh shit, is it The Fast or that? That's the one I get confused.
It
about.
is such a trope for the 4th movie to just add or remove a the.
Yeah.
Because you never want to say 4.
Final Destination.
4 is like
They did,
embarrassing to people. It's weird
Right.
that they become ashamed of the number 4 because 3 fits
Right.
in a trilogy. You know, no one ever wants to name it
Right.
the 4th. You never want 4 in the title unless you're Saw. Then you wear that like a badge of honor. You're like, fuck yeah, this is 4.
The Saw.
No, that was respectable though. I was amazed you managed to pull that out of your hat like that. Well done.
Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah, I just missed the. Yeah, and yeah, the Fast and the Final Destination movies. They also do that with the
Exactly.
and the fourth.
The Final
Yeah.
Destination.
The fourth one's
It's a
called The.
trope. It's a really weird. People are scared of the number
So
4.
weird.
Or at least they think people are. And I understand it because like 3 just seems that like this is like when you think of a trilogy, it's like this was exactly as many as they planned, and then 4 seems like that one step too far. That seems where it's like this is starting to get excessive. Is the implication with the number 4? So
Yeah, that's shark jumping
Cool.
territory, number 4.
Yeah.
All right,
That's Vin Diesel. Yeah,
we saw a movie in theaters.
a great movie.
It is still in theaters. It is called
You saw it in theaters.
Yeah.
Wow.
I saw it in
Oh,
a
me
thea-
too.
I saw it in literal theaters because I saw it twice and it was in more than one theater. So I saw it in theaters,
Oh yeah.
plural.
Cool.
Everything Everywhere All at Once, directed by the Daniels, Daniel Kwan and Daniel Scheinert. What did everybody think of this movie? We can start with
Dick fingers.
Yeah.
Sorry.
We can start with you, Raven. Anyway, I was just going to say that. Yeah.
I actually was very confused. I went into the movie not really knowing what to expect.
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing I see is Jamie Lee Curtis playing the best Karen I have ever seen in a very long time. Like, she was so good at being racist-ish. I could almost smell the microaggressions coming off of her vest. It was pretty awesome.
Yeah, she was definitely playing a type.
Yeah. I also liked do you guys remember the Space Odyssey parody?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Course. Yeah. With
Yeah.
the fingers or the
Oh,
hot
yeah.
dog.
Spoiler
like you
alert,
said, the dick
everybody,
fingers.
for everything. Yeah, we're spoiling the movie. Just making sure we're
Yeah,
mentioning
sorry.
that. Yeah.
Maybe move that earlier.
Hot dog, whatever,
Yeah.
it's fine. It's on the poster, the hot
The
dog
hot dog
fingers.
fingers, yeah.
Yeah.
And then they eat their fingers and like mustard and ketchup comes out. That's like really gross.
That actually grossed me out.
Yeah.
But I do like the concept of using your own powers from different multiverses or universes with infinite outcomes.
Yeah,
Has like a weird butterfly effect.
It was like a reimagining of like the Matrix powers, where he like downloads and he's like, I know kung fu. But it took it to like such a different degree of like, okay, we're putting in a more like purposeful thematic concept in here for that. But also they have, this didn't need to be in it for thematic purposes, but just for entertainment purposes, perform an action that is so unlikely that it will connect with the right universe. And so people are just doing these weird things of like, okay, fucking eat your chapstick, and like all of these hilarious nonsense, like
building
what is
absurd humor into the plot and making it make sense within it
catapults you into a different part of the multiverse. It's like completely ridiculous, but it fits with like the Daniels filmography like, quite well, I think, with their absurdist humor. Like, I don't think it's out of place at all.
Well, I never saw Swiss Army Man, but I heard it was, the humor didn't quite land as much. Whereas I haven't got around to that.
Not for me
personally. The Death of Dick
personally.
Long, I thought that was hilarious. But
hell yeah.
Oh yeah,
Here,
I
the
haven't
humor
seen
was
that
almost
one.
perfect
I've
for me.
seen Swiss Army Man. I liked it. I'm more like that humor didn't really connect with me. This movie I feel is a little more accessible.
Swiss Army Man is like way more quirky than this and way more purposeless in its quirkiness. This film is like they took...
It's more quirky than this.
Yeah, they took...
Wow.
Well, I mean, like this feels like quirky with a purpose, and I think that helps. Is because like everything that this does, it sort of like makes sense, and it feels like they have the reins on these absurdist things that they're putting into the film. It feels like they're able to contain it within the film and contain it, like they're holding it in a ball or whatever you want to call it. It's in the everything bagel, let's say.
It feeds into itself, yeah.
Whereas like
That's a great
Swiss Army Man is just like for the sake of being weird, that's it. And that's all there is to it. It's just the weirdness is where it starts and ends, and it doesn't really it doesn't tie into itself. Everything Everywhere All at Once, you could say, is like a character story about like a mother accepting her daughter and coming to terms with like things in her own life and the possibilities of what she could have done and who she is. And, all of that can exist without the absurdist or supernatural elements, but they all complement each other very well in this film. They all like tie into each other, and it works. It works really well, I think.
My thoughts on it are honestly kind of as messy as intentionally messy. I'll say the movie is as like the title suggests. It's wacky. And it keeps ramping up like nearly every half an hour, and it's inherently unpredictable as a result. You just never know where it's going. And I purposely made sure to not watch any trailers or anything. I just wanted to experience it fresh, and it was a proper experience. I don't know if I've really. I'm trying to reel myself in, because when I have like such a strong emotional reaction to a movie, I can kind of overhype it in my head, and it's only my first viewing, and I only saw it a day or two ago, so I'm still kind of wrapping my thoughts around it. But I haven't felt this way about a movie probably since Hot Fuzz, just in terms of balancing that tone, fitting in references in a way that makes sense, and as you said, feeds into itself and builds up a story, and just the kind of scrappiness of it too. I didn't realize 9 people worked on the visual effects for this movie. 9 people. And they all learned it off YouTube and Google. So it's like this. I love the scrappiness and the kind of low budget, 25 million.
Yeah,
there's so much good about it, and like the main character is like a middle-aged Chinese woman who's like getting divorced. Like everything about it feels like so like fresh and original, and the references aren't annoying.
Yeah, the main
that's such a sticking point for me.
It's perfect. Like it's just following like this family that works at like a laundromat. It's just like so, but it also ties in perfectly with this story because logically it's about this multiverse thing, right? And you're trying to find the most innocent kind of version of a protagonist, and it would be like this kind of, kind of maybe poor person who's like working at this laundromat, but then you see like the opposite version of like her daughter who's like this super evil like alternate version. I love that character too and that performance. I thought she was really good in the movie, and the visual effects involving her and all that. Yeah, I couldn't believe 9 people worked on the movie because all the effects are really inspired, and they feel definitely more inspired than something you'd see in like a bigger budget movie that's out now. Not that I dislike Marvel or anything, but yeah, it's like I love the shots of like Michelle Yeoh like center frame, and it's all the different multiverses.
Oh yeah,
like
you can see the
it's seizure inducing, but like in a good way. It's like it's not like in bad.
Yeah,
it's like how I like Gaspar Noé films too. Yeah, but yeah, if you need to close your eyes or whatever, but I think it's great. Like I love those scenes. It doesn't do anything bad for my eyes anyway. And yeah, you're right, Alex. It's like trying to encompass like that title, like that everything concept, like it's trying to be about everything, and it's very kind of all over the place in a good way, I think. But I could see why some people wouldn't like that.
Yeah, it feeds into a central message, doesn't it? Where it's
right.
Like the villain of the movie is someone who's taken the whole world on their shoulders. She's basically this whole bagel thing is kind of like a metaphor for depression, nihilism, just anything negative like that. Just the acknowledgement of the absurdity of our existence, basically. That's another thing the movie like directly addresses.
The kind of MacGuffin of the movie, the everything bagel, which is great because it could be anything, and I love that it's just like an everything bagel.
Yeah, a lot of the imagery that references it.
Yeah, it's just perfect for like the absurdist humor of the movie too. Like I couldn't think of a better kind of prop for this kind of film, honestly. And it falls in line with the title also. Yeah, I just wanted to mention Ke-Huy Quan from Short Round.
Yeah. I love that Short Round's in the movie. That's awesome.
Yeah, last time I saw him, he was like a little kid.
Yeah,
he was really great in the movie.
He was fucking awesome.
He's really great. He's one of my favorite parts of the
acting.
film. And yeah, James Hong as well is really great. He just got his star in the Hollywood Walk of Fame. I don't know if you know.
Oh shit, I didn't know.
But yeah, he has a ton of, I think 177 credits. That's what it says on Letterboxd.
Oh wow.
So he's been in a ton of movies. So yeah, it's cool they just, gave him it after this movie. Yeah. And he's great in the movie. I mean, I thought he was fucking hilarious, like everybody is.
Well, yeah, what a fun like framing for these actors to play. Like you basically get to play a bunch of different characters, like changing within a scene, and just getting to see them like swap on the go, and the emotional range like that. It's really satisfying the way it will go from the scene will open and it would be something completely absurd, something ridiculous.
Yeah.
But 2-3 minutes later, you'll be in tears. Like they managed to spin the drama around and maintain the drama despite the absurdity.
Uh-huh.
That's what's so good about it. It's weird that it was able to do that because it's so chaotic, because it seems to jump everywhere, because it's just absurd. But then I think it kind of grounds itself by having those rules, because it reminds me of when you're on the schoolyard and you just like make up a bunch of things that don't make sense, like finger guns, and just like it just seemed like, I don't know, it was easy to sort of get immersed into it, but also it was just, I didn't get lost. I don't know. I thought maybe I would find it kind of cringy just because of all of the absurd elements, but it worked really well together.
Yeah. In concept, this shouldn't work. It is
ambitious.
It is way too ambitious for how well it wound up working. In that sense, it's the way that they, I guess, chipped away at the script and just the final draft. It must have taken a long time to get to that place, considering like everything that they put into this film. Like there's probably a lot of concepts that they dropped. It probably took them a while to get to
But yeah,
containing it in this way.
I think it was shot before COVID.
Oh yeah.
So I was watching some interviews this morning. And they're talking about how they spent like most of lockdown in 2020, 2021 editing. They were describing this process of like they were just editing various scenes in their bedrooms or at home, like sharing it over the internet. And they described this concept called swarm editing, where they're like if they were stuck on a scene, they were kind of like sharing it around with the like kind of tight, scrappy way they were making it. It seemed like quite loose. And I don't know how you could assemble a film like this without having a totally scrappy, loose like framework like that, because it is just so ambitious. There's no really good way to explain this without just tinkering.
I just want the I don't remember his name. I think it was Ratatouille. I wanted to have his own Netflix show.
Yeah.
It was too good.
That was funny. Yeah, I like that it just started as like the incorrect title pronunciation at the beginning, and then it just turned into like, oh, we're actually doing a bit for this.
Yeah. Well, that was one where I didn't love it at first when it was just a reference that was wrong. But it was the commitment to it and bringing it back, and then recalling to it and having the whole
it has an emotional ending. Yeah,
it's
the one shot in that that emotional sequence where like the dramatic music picks up and it's going,
and it's literally voiced by Randy Newman, which is extra funny.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. Yes.
Wow.
Oh my god.
It's literally Randy Newman. Like it gets funnier the more you hear about this movie.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I actually went back just to hear him again.
Yeah. I love the soundtrack for this film too. The Sun Lux did it, which I love that band. The great band, make great music, and the soundtrack for this movie was fucking sick. It's fucking great.
I have very minor issues with the soundtrack. I'm stuck between like there's parts where I feel like I wish that it was more memorable at parts in terms of like a melodic presentation, but I think that where the soundtrack works best is when it's doing its own rendition of I think Claire de Lune by Debussy. Debussy. That whenever that's reincorporated, that's awesome. I think that works super well, that classical tune. Although like melodically I wish that I got something more memorable from the other parts of the soundtrack, I still respect it a lot because it's emulating a lot of different genres. The trailer song, so like at the beginning of the film, they play the same song that was in the trailer. I thought that was like absolutely fantastic. But there was something that's just like something really tiny just missing from me from like some of the more dramatic parts musically. But yeah, otherwise it's very minor issues that I have with the soundtrack, but like overall respect it a lot.
Yeah, well, I love the soundtrack.
Yeah.
Go back to the visual effects too. Like, I feel like it feels like kind of a low budget movie, but that's what I like about it. Like we mentioned, the body switching, like when her husband switches bodies, it's usually just a sound effect.
Yeah.
And like
and just performance.
Like it's just right, and a performance. It's just editing, and but it's completely immersive. Like you totally believe it in the movie. Like you're never distracted by like, oh, he's just doing like a movement. You totally he's a different person. Yeah, and it's very clear like, what's going on.
Yeah, exactly.
It's always very obvious what's going on. And yeah, I like that stuff. I like that the movie feels very grand scale, even though it kind of isn't. Like a lot of the movie is in a laundromat and in that IRS building, and I think that's basically it. Like maybe a couple other small locations, but like it feels so much more kind of epic than that. Jumping between all the multiverses,
yeah, exactly,
and the different versions of her. Right? It's kind of confusing. Yeah, like you said, Raven, it's kind of confusing, but like in a good way, like how science fiction should be, like kind of how Chris Nolan's movies are. But like I like science fiction to be confusing, complicated. Like it's almost kind of parodying that in a way, but it works. Like it's just really fun.
Like you just kind of roll with it because they're like, no, there's a set of rules, and you're like, okay, because they sort of feed you the rules to it, so you don't really question anything that's going on. You just kind of absorb everything.
Mm-hmm.
And it acknowledges the absurdity like directly a couple times, like like Looper style, where it's like this doesn't make any sense, but it just keeps moving forward. It just doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like one of the rules is basically that there are no rules, which kind of gives you ultimate creative freedom, especially when it's like grounded by the family dynamics, because everyone can relate to that. That's like the core conflict of like the parents and the child, and not being able to connect generationally. And it's not just with the child, actually, with the grandfather as well. Yeah, the family aspect really does ground the absurdity. I just kept saying at multiple points to myself, like, this can't keep escalating. How is it working? How is this simultaneous? Like, humor I get, like having it just a funny movie, but it's balancing the tone. Tone is like a tone like this is like so difficult. If you're going for the ambitious kind of shock comedy, like as far as it goes in some places, like the butt plug fight scene and stuff like that, it's like
very satisfying.
It's so satisfying. It's hilarious. It's actually laugh out loud funny.
Yeah.
But to have the drama work as well, I think is so admirable. I'm kind of shocked that it works the way it does.
I'm glad I saw this for the first time in a crowd. The audience was having a great time with it.
Yeah, the crowd's great when I saw it both times. Like, really good crowd of people. Yeah, they were always
great
laughing.
energy.
Is there another movie that manages to balance absurdity with reality like this movie did?
Well, it reminded me like Charlie Kaufman films or like.
That's a good example.
It felt esque. Like it reminded me of Eternal Sunshine or
Being John
like
Malkovich
that.
is like a good example.
Yeah.
Oh,
it was kind of existential, but also it felt like a Daniels film. Like it was the absurdist humor is definitely like a staple of theirs, and like it gave the movie personality that made it feel unique to them for sure.
Yeah, it's really interesting how far they push the absurdist nature, because there's other directors that just do nothing but like, oh, this is weird, and that's the whole point, and it's just weird. Like Quentin Dupieux, who his famous movie is Rubber, and that was all right. The Killer Tire movie,
yeah.
that was fine for what it was, and like kind of self-aware. But everything he made after that is just like, lol, so random, and that's it. And I'm just like, I'm irritated by it to such an unbelievable degree, because it doesn't have a purpose, and it's not intelligent or clever. It's not saying anything. It's not. Whereas Everything Everywhere All at Once is like, it's profound at points. It has something to say. It's coming from a personal place. It's using quirkiness to help tell a story rather than substitute a story. And I like that. I like that a lot. It's very well balanced, and super, super accessible. There's not many movies this weird that I would just recommend to everybody. This is a movie that I showed my mom, and she liked it a lot. You know? Yeah,
it's very like creatively inspiring in that way, just in terms of like they managed to make this ruleless, like just wacky story hit home in this kind of way. It's quite illuminating, and like trying to not box yourself in any way. It's just I can't get over that side of it.
It's a very like emotional movie. It's making people cry.
It literally has like we haven't mentioned like the action scenes and stuff like that, and incorporating like there's literally like a Smash Bros sound effect in it, like just
Oh my god,
really?
yeah.
I didn't even notice. Like that's something that would go completely over my head. Yeah.
Except there was no guy yelling "game."
Yeah. It reminded me of Scott Pilgrim with like the absurdity and like the fight scenes too, like all that stuff from the movie.
Yeah.
I love the action scenes. They were so well shot and fun, and like really well choreographed.
Very well choreographed. Yeah.
What's extra hilarious is that we got a new Matrix movie recently, but this is a better Matrix movie.
This is a much better Matrix. Like,
that was definitely that wasn't really a Matrix movie. Like this had much better choreography. This had much better.
There's even that. There's that direct reference,
so
isn't there, with the shot where she changes office cubicle, and it's like staged the same way as the
it's
the
very
Matrix
clearly inspired.
Right.
It's the best Matrix movie since the original Matrix, in my opinion.
Oh yeah.
yeah, true.
Better than all the
their
sequels.
Matrix. Yeah.
Maybe even a little bit of Doctor Strange. I want her to fight Doctor Strange.
Yeah. Well, like the multiverse thing, right?
Yeah.
But I was just waiting for them to push it too far. I guess that's what I was trying to say. As it was building, as these more elements kept stacking on top of each other, I was waiting, when is it going to stop working for me? It just never does. Even with how absurd it does get towards with the sausage fingers, with the just how ridiculous it goes.
Could easily fall apart at any moment, but they managed to bring things back to like the central themes of the film. It's performing very well. It just recently, as of like a couple days ago, broke A24's box office record. So it's now its highest grossing film. It just beat Uncut Gems, which, remember, has Adam Sandler in it, right? Like this doesn't have like Michelle Yeoh is like the biggest actor out of all of the people in this.
Yeah,
well, I guess
Yeoh's a
Jamie
big
Lee
actor,
Curtis actually is probably
Yeah.
bigger, but
Oh yeah, her too. Domestically, I think worldwide, it's. Still
is that just domestically?
Domestic record, yeah.
What's incredible about this
It's
film
still, it did great, yeah.
is as of a few weeks ago, so in its 6th weekend at the box office, it had dropped 0%. So it was like maintaining
Bro.
a constant flow of people watching the movie. This is one of those infectious word of mouth films, and this shows up like maybe once a decade or something. Like, I don't know. It's been a while since there's been like a really like infectious word of mouth film. Like an example of that would be like Napoleon Dynamite, where like it screened in like a few theaters and then became like a huge hit just because people were like, it's so funny. At this point, it's dropped off like 6%, which is still incredible for like what 8-9 weeks at the box office. Like, however long it's been, and it's now just opened in the UK too, so that should help it out a bit.
Yeah,
Wow.
extremely limited release here too.
Yeah, they're doing weird stuff with this movie. I wish A24 just released things like normal, but whatever.
I know.
Like perhaps it's like its own strategy in terms of like them knowing that it's a word of mouth film. They're just like keeping it in the conversation as long as possible. I don't know, but I'm glad it's doing well, and I'm glad it's working out for them. I'm really happy that like this is like a passionate, personal film that is gaining a lot of recognition with people. Sure, it's not as big as Doctor Strange, but among people that care about films, and even expanding beyond that, just random friends of people that care a lot about films. A lot of people are seeing it, and a lot of people are enjoying it. I love to see it. I like it when something can permeate the public consciousness like this.
Yeah.
And it should just be the beginning.
It's actually a fresh experience for anybody because there's so much going on in the movie that it just naturally makes the trailer ambiguous. Like, I have no idea what I was looking at.
Yeah, it's
the
impossible
trailer doesn't
to
give away
prepare
a
for
lot. Yeah.
The description on IMDb used to just be a woman does her taxes. It's hilariously vague.
That's great, actually. Yeah, how do you top this? Like, what are the Daniels going to do after this point?
Yeah,
I'm for it.
Interviews.
I'm all for it. Like I really loved Death of Dick Long, even though it was only one of them that directed that. But like after this, I'm like, okay, I'm sold. I'll just watch your next movie. I'm not even going to watch the trailer. Even if your next movie is not as good as this, like I'll probably
good luck
something
following
out of
it up is the thing. It'd be nice to see maybe something.
Right.
Yeah.
This
Could
is
you
like
could you imagine a
peak, right?
sequel? I wonder, like that might not work well, but you never know.
Yeah, they should just leave it here. The budget was only $25 million. That's really great. That's awesome.
Let's see.
Do you have any criticisms with this film, really? Because I hardly have any. I have some
just the music to like
complaints.
that tiny bit. 56 million worldwide.
There's some dubbing
grosses.
Yeah. I'm trying to look up a list of like A24 worldwide.
Yeah, I think the reason why the worldwide isn't high is because they just didn't release it outside the States for a while.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah. So it should.
There was part of the movie where
it might be eventually.
They were trying to set up for a misunderstanding. Like when her husband was presenting her with the divorce papers, I was so sure that they were going to hold on to that until the end of the movie, but I really appreciate that they just threw that out within the first few minutes of the film.
Yeah, I can imagine.
That would have been a criticism, but they didn't end up using it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, very crazy, unique movie. If you haven't seen it, please check it out. Anybody listening, even if we've said a lot about it, can't really spoil this movie. It's its own experience. Like if someone tells you about it, no matter how much they say, you can't really spoil the experience of this movie. It's not a movie you can really spoil. You can still watch it and get just as much out of it.
Wait. Worldwide box office A24. Number one's Hereditary, then Lady Bird, then Moonlight, then Everything All at Once.
Yeah, so
It'll
just
probably go
domestically
up.
then.
Yeah, Everything All at Once
it
might
could
go
beat
number one.
What? How much is Hereditary?
Uncut Gems is 5. Hereditary's 81 million worldwide. It could get there. Needs to make 30 million from like other countries.
Yeah, and it just opened up
there.
in like Europe and shit. So who knows?
Yeah, we'll see.
It could get there.
Yeah. Midsommar's on there. The Witch is 7. Ex Machina's 8. Room is 9. Spring Breakers is 10. That's interesting. Spring Breakers. Harmony Queen.
I'm not surprised by that at all. It's his most successful.
Yeah, I
film.
guess. Yeah.
That was 2013 personified. All right. Everything Everywhere All at Once. I'm giving this one a 9 out of 10. Loved it. Watch it.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. 9 out of 10. Could probably bump up if when I see it again. But yeah, I just want to hold it back a little bit.
Yeah,
for now.
there's a lot of Easter eggs in it, so
Yeah.
definitely 9 out of 10, or even higher.
Yeah, like a 6. No, 9. Yeah, it's good. It's great. I'm happy for the Daniels, and yeah, like that they made a movie that is so successful and also like fucking weird.
Yeah.
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 Great.
I want to see more of it.
Great
I'm
film.
happy it's doing
Yeah,
well.
I'm looking forward to their next thing. Yeah. Yeah. It'll definitely be like one of my favorites of the year, probably like definitely on my list.
Mhm.
Oh,
Very
yeah.
high. Yeah.
Yeah, it's right now it's maybe my favorite movie of the year. There was another film
Right
I
now
watched
it is,
called
Yeah.
Klondike. That was really good
Oh.
from
okay.
Sundance.
Right now this is my favorite. Yeah. I like the Batman. And I like Men. I saw Men. That was
Yeah.
great.
I'll be
Oh,
seeing
yeah.
that
People
as
are seeing
soon
that.
as I'm testing negative for COVID, because I might still be.
That
testing
one's kind of
positive.
like a mother situation, I think. Like people don't like it because it's kind of fucking weird and crazy, but
We'll talk
I
about
definitely
that
liked
next
it.
episode. Alex,
Yeah,
is
next
that in
time.
theaters for
Yeah,
you
okay.
right now, Men?
Yeah. That's
Okay.
how I was
Yeah.
going to see it tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll
Cool.
catch it before the next episode for sure.
Yeah, I just saw it yesterday.
All right, the film recommendation of this episode. It was my recommendation, so I will describe the film. It is 4 months, 3 weeks, 2 days. It is a Romanian film. It won the Palme d'Or, I believe, in 2007. It is directed by Christian Mungiu. I don't know how to pronounce his name. I probably butchered it, but that's just fine. This is a very brutal, very real, non-sugar coated film about a woman and her friend trying to get a black market abortion in Romania in the 1980s, where it was, illegal. And spoilers for this film. I would highly recommend it. So if you haven't seen it, check it out and come back and listen. But what did everyone think of this movie?
I had to sit on it afterwards, and then I think maybe after an hour or so, I started to realize that the main character, she's basically a vessel, because I felt a lot of anxiety when I watched the movie, and it's all kind of through her perspective. Because I noticed that the other characters, they all seemed kind of muted around her, or just a little more, I guess, jaded by everything. It was weird, but he's very anxious, especially the one scene at the dinner table. That it felt like it went on forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are a couple of dinner table scenes of misery. It's harrowing, and it's so impressive. Like the approach to such a sensitive topic, and being able to present it is just a straightforward. This is what it is, and here's the harsh fucking reality of having to live under oppressive laws like this. Like I didn't realize for the first half an hour or so, I was a little bit like, where's this going? What's the structure of this? How's this going to come together? What's the pace about? But as soon as it gets to that hotel room and you kind of see what's going on, I didn't know about just how strict Romania was in the 80s regarding this sort of thing, including contraception even and stuff like this. So yeah, it's harrowing, it's horrifying. But makes a very strong point, I would say.
What do you think, Rob?
Yeah. Oh, I feel the same. Yeah. It makes a very strong point.
I love the way that it's filmed. Lots of
Yeah.
long takes.
Yeah.
It's all handheld,
Handheld
but
a lot
not
of the time.
like it's not like distractingly shaky cam or anything. It's just
Yeah.
sort of like
Mhm.
this uneasy sort of,
Sure.
not stable, I guess, is to reflect the tone of
Yeah,
the
it
film.
was very well shot. I thought not exploitive.
Hmm.
It's very well shot. Yeah,
Yeah,
not
it
like
didn't
amazing,
feel
but
like
yeah, look good. Told the story well. I thought.
over dramatized or like
No.
manipulative. Um,
Mm-hmm.
especially with the lack of music.
Mm-hmm. It's very subtle. Yeah.
Yeah, minimal.
Mm-hmm.
Mm,
Yeah, which is definitely better. Like when you're approaching the subject matter. Like
Yeah, you don't
I
need
like that
flair
approach
for a
much
story
better.
like this. Like,
Yeah,
it grounds
right.
it
Yeah.
way more.
it's not
Exactly.
sensationalized.
Like, it kind of speaks for itself, right? It doesn't need to be
Yeah.
sensationalized. Yeah. Yeah, it won awards at Cannes, right?
The Palme d'Or
Mm-hmm.
and perhaps
which
some
is
others.
the
Let me
best
see.
thing you can
Yeah,
win.
the
Yeah. For
the big prize.
when did it come out? When did it come out?
2007.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. It's definitely like I definitely like the message of the movie and like the politics behind it
Mhm.
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
It's like one of those films. Yeah.
It was shocking, but not in your face. It was very subtle
Mhm.
in the way it added shock value.
Yeah, it was brutal without feeling like poor taste.
Yeah.
It wasn't like brutal like a fucking Eli Roth movie. Like it wasn't. That's not what it was trying to be. It didn't feel immature about approaching its subject
Imagine
matter.
Eli Roth thinking this.
Oh no, thank you.
Oh, dude.
You don't even put that in
Yeah.
my head, Adam.
Keanu Reeves in it.
Yeah.
No, that would be terrible.
Keanu Reeves.
You're pregnant? Whoa! Like no. That just would not.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, this is I don't know how the rest of you feel about this, but I felt like the pacing of this movie was like absolutely fantastic. And that might be because I've seen it so many times too, but like it flies by for me. It feels like 40 minutes go by and it feels like 20 minutes for me. Much of it feels like it's sort of in real time, but the communication of passage of time is like a really really big, really well done thing for me in this film. How did you all feel about it?
Yeah, definitely. Especially the scene at the table or when she's trying to make phone calls to her friend. It felt very urgent, even though everything around her was just sort of going. Yeah, I watched it thinking like, okay, get back to the apartment, go back to the apartment.
Mhm.
The tension and misery from her just sat there in silence.
Yeah.
Yeah, the way that tension flows in the dinner table scene is in large part due to the blocking, to how the scene was blocked.
Mm-hmm.
So while she's sitting there and she's like very physically reserved, she's, almost like curling up in a ball, and you can see the anxiety in her face and her not really being there presently in the conversation. Her head is clearly elsewhere. And meanwhile, everyone else at the table is kind of like really in any other circumstance, this wouldn't be so uncomfortable, but because of the context of the film, like they're reaching across the table and like just very loud and like it's a very incredibly uncomfortable situation to observe, and just how much movement there is between everybody else and how still she is. It's a very very well communicated emotional perspective of that character, I feel.
Yeah, I don't even really know how they managed to articulate that throughout the movie because it was done really well. But did you guys notice that everyone else felt very slow? I don't know how to describe it. Well, okay, so Gabita, she is the one who's pregnant, right? But you would kind of think maybe she would have a little bit more panic or urgency, but it just felt like it was all coming from the main character.
Yeah, I think
she was concerned for everybody else.
Well, they were kind of experiencing this trauma together.
Yeah.
And but even though they were together, they were experiencing it alone in a way. Like the rest of the world was like really uncaring and like apathetic towards them, and I guess like even unaware. Most of the characters are, they don't even understand what's happening, and it's just not their problem because they're not aware of it. With how they're performing, like, I forget her name. The Gabita, I think, is the black-haired woman. Like,
Yeah.
throughout the film, she, like, her personality and everything that we find out about her character, like, she's not great at planning ahead. She's
Yes.
she's very she's not the brightest. And that's not to suggest that she deserves any of the pain coming to her, because she doesn't. But it's a good way to sort of emphasize the idea that, like, okay, yeah, well, not everyone's going to be able to prevent a pregnancy. Not everyone's going to be able to deal with this right away, whether it be for financial reasons or because of, like, personality reasons, or like, not everyone's like a perfect example of, like, some genius who has everything figured out in their life. Some people are kind of fuck ups, and they find themselves into this situation, and that doesn't mean they deserve it. Like, so I found it interesting that they didn't paint her as, like, some sort of, like, virtuous, like, oh, I did everything right and things still fucked up. No, she clearly fucked up too, but, like, it's presenting a very real, like, okay, yeah, even if people fuck up, like, do they really deserve this happening to them? Like, we can still empathize with them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think because they seemed a little disconnected from each other, because maybe that's just how she processed the trauma of even being pregnant at a time like that. They seemed so disconnected that even at the very end of the movie, when the main character was like, let's just forget about this, but you could tell she was stressed out, Gabita was like, all right, let's just forget about it. It just kind of ended off.
I was sensing more almost relief in a way from Gabita.
Yeah.
She was so distressed by this idea of, like, there's no solution to this problem, and we have to get this done. So by the time she's at the table, I'm just so hungry, I've got to eat. Whereas the other character, the plan doesn't go as it should have. So she's thinking in her head that the assault could have been avoided in her head if, like, just certain decisions weren't made. So there's an extra pain at that dinner table when, like, there's nothing really addressed. The Gabita character doesn't really acknowledge it in any way, like what she's done or what they had to do. So there's just, like, a sickening silence.
I think she's just sort of, like, repressing it internally. I think that she just deals with those emotions in a very different way. Like, the main character comes back to the hotel, and the first thing she's like, why didn't you answer the phone? And she doesn't even acknowledge it. Gabita just, like, is clearly in her own contained world with her own thoughts, and she just says, like, it came out, it's in the bathroom, and she doesn't even acknowledge that she didn't pick up the phone. Like, she's in kind of, like, in a stun locked position where, like, we'll never know, like, to the level of which she's trying to communicate with the outside world, but she's sort of trapped internally. Like, she's very clearly unable to to deal with everything that's happening, and so she gets stuck inside. She's very clearly internalizing a lot of it, and just I think the characters portrayed really well, both of them, all of them, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it was great because you kind of look at it two ways, where at first glance you kind of think, okay, well, she's just really selfish and she's only thinking of her own safety because of how dire the situation is. It almost seems like Gabita's in her own mind, but then when you actually look at it, she's coming from a place of trauma, so there's double layers to it. And I did remember that one scene where the main character's talking to her boyfriend. They're having an argument, and she says, Gabita would help me if I had an abortion. And I actually thought about that. I was like, would she? I don't really know, just because of how the characters were interacting with each other.
Yeah, I think that this is something that I kind of picked up on this most recent watch. I think, like, one of the things that it's really just, like, hammering down is, like, this idea of, like, isolation when it comes to these problems, because you can't talk to anybody else about it, and they're dealing with these problems themselves. And, like, one of the last lines of the film is just like, we're never going to speak about this to anyone. And the visuals accompanying that is, like, an entire party happening in the background, right? Like, that's a huge contrast of emphasis of, like, these two are dealing with their trauma while the rest of the world is going on and taking place. and they can't speak to anybody about it because they're, it's criminalized. They can't even, they're going to deal with this by themselves, and no one's there to help them. And an interesting visual that I just picked up on this last time that I watched is at the end, not only is the party happening behind glass, but as the shot continues on, it's kind of a reveal that the camera perspective is also behind glass. Before the car starts moving, you see the reflection of the headlights. They add the sound as well, and so that's almost kind of a reveal. Like, no, you, the viewer, are separated from them as well behind glass. There's the scene earlier when she's talking to her boyfriend who doesn't know about this whole situation. He's just like, make sure you're there with flowers and blah, 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 blah. They're like trying to plan this dinner. And the way that scene continues on, she walks behind at the building that they are, and she goes behind glass. And so it's like this interesting recurring visual choice. And the shot continues on. He's sitting there, she's behind the glass, and she even kisses him through the glass. She like puts her hand to her lips and to the glass, and then she walks away. I feel like that has to be intentional. I feel like that has to be like a visual, like, some symbolism for the isolation and the different worlds of these characters, that like he has no idea what she's going through. They're, in a separate reality, basically, because they're unable to communicate with each other and process it together.
Even it did feel very stifled, because even during the dinner scene, when she's sitting next to her boyfriend, they don't even look at each other. Like, they're both just looking off into the distance at I don't even know what, but it just
he doesn't say anything.
Yeah. It looked like he was having a bad time too. I don't know. It just looked really there was also was it implied that the lead was also pregnant?
That was a real possibility. I think it left it like ambiguous.
Because she barfed at one point, and I was like, wait, what? Unless I missed something.
Yeah, it could have just been like the stress of, the whole situation. Yeah.
Because that would have made it more real for her as well, but yeah.
Yeah, she could be, she might not be. She definitely, at the very least, played with that idea with her boyfriend. Like, she's like, how do you know I'm not right now? Like, what if she is? Like, we don't know. So that's a very real possibility for the character. And so, most of this is done in kind of like a 1-to-1 ratio for like passage of time. Very long scenes, very long takes. The emotions build up very naturally over the course of a scene. Lots of tension just from the performances and the blocking. But the few times where there are edits in the film, there's like very few times where passage of time is communicated through the editing, and it's so reserved and so effective in how it's done. Just like really simple cuts. So Gabita comes in to the bathroom to have her cigarette while there's a sexual assault rape taking place in the other room with the main character. And the passage of time is just communicated through like a simple cut. She's like sitting slightly differently on the toilet, and then main character comes back in, and then we get more passage of time cuts where she's trying to wash herself after that horrific experience. She's washing herself, and then we just get this like the shot of the back of her head, and it's silence except for the clock ticking. And as the viewer, it's like, okay, like we don't know how long she's been sitting there, but the implication is clearly like she was there for a while, and then after a few seconds we're like cut back, and she's there's another action being performed again. I love that it so much is implied by just those simple editing choices of whereas like the entire rest of the film is like pretty direct 1-to-1 passage of time. It's just I feel like that's communicated like super well.
Do you have any relationship with this director's other movies? I'm just looking at his IMDb. He's got a few there. I'm just not familiar myself. Are there any that are on this level, or is this considered kind of the cream of the crop?
It's probably his best. Graduation is another one that I really enjoyed. I'd have to see it again, but that one's like super well done. What was the other one that I watched? Let's see. He's got a film at Cannes right now. I'll have to figure out how well it's doing.
Was it RMM?
Yeah, Beyond the Hills, I remember enjoying, but I don't know if I was like fully into the style at that time. I'd be willing to give that one a rewatch to see how I feel. But yeah, Graduation would definitely recommend Graduation.
Were they
Definitely
like
watch that one.
similarly minimal and
Oh yeah,
with a
they're
similar
shot
kind of
very
style?
yeah. The style is like just as meticulous. In fact, I would say in Graduation, it's like you can tell he's like evolved a bit more. Like it's even better looking from like a cinematography perspective than this film. Really great performances and everything he does. Yeah, really great director. He's one of my favorites for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, this was a good movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, necessary movie.
Yeah, it's I figured this was on my list of potential recommendations for a while, and then with recent news coming out of the United States,
the timing.
yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, right.
It's like when I recommended Texas Chainsaw Massacre after the Texas thing.
Yeah.
Laws there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not like overly preachy. It's not
No.
manipulative, really.
Yeah.
I mean, like all film is manipulative. There's a certain degree to which everything's manipulative, but it's not in poor taste in any way. It's very real. It's very raw. It just allows you to, experience and recognize that these are real things that people have gone through, that people shouldn't
That's
have to go
what's
through.
most horrifying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Just picturing that this is just one tiny example of the capacity of like an entire country. And
Yeah.
it's just one country in a whole world. So
yeah,
it's incredibly depressing from that aspect, but that's why it's a message that needs to be shared.
Yeah, like just through statistically alone, like inevitably, like if you have these laws in place, then these things will happen. Oh, another thing I picked up on this watch that I didn't really pick up on the other ones, I feel like they were trying to make kind of an analogy towards other black market sort of demands, because they put a lot of attention on that cigarette brand. They put a lot of attention on the cigarettes, and they were like Kent cigarettes or something. And one of the lines from the boyfriend is like, "Oh yeah, you can find it. One of the black market dealers will have it for like 80 lei or whatever." And immediately, as soon as she gets rejected from the first hotel because Gabita did a fuck up and they didn't have the hotel, just like within, I don't know, 10 feet of the desk, she just sees a guy with a duffel bag and she's like, "Oh, do you have the Kent cigarettes?" He's like, "Yeah, well, 80 lei." And it's just sort of right there. And it's like, okay, I think, that they're making some sort of commentary on like, yeah, if you have a lot of these things that are made illegal, then there are, underground black markets for them. I don't know if cigarettes were illegal or what the situation with that was in Romania in 1980s, but even for something like that, even if it wasn't illegal, like they were clearly establishing that there are other services that you create a black market, somebody's going to take advantage of that. If there's any sort of incentive for that, they're going to exist. So I think that's kind of what it was touching on by including that in the film, I think, but it seems like something it would.
Yeah, because the smoking was a part of one of the dinner scenes with the dickhead guy who was friends of the boyfriend's parents. He's kind of like ranting and raging about how the youth like don't respect them anymore and smoking in front of them. How dare you disrespect me in this way? Even though like the main character's like been
Didn't somebody offer her a
disrespected by the
cigarette at the
government.
table?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely like a historical context that I'd need to read more into.
Yeah,
just
I would
not
have to
knowing
look up
much about the origin.
Why there were black market cigarettes in Romania in the 1980s. One thing that kind of pissed me off, it's not the fault of the film, it's the fault of Criterion, whoever did the fucking subtitles. There was a line from the black market abortion doctor, if we want to call him a doctor, where he was saying, anything below 100 degrees is fine. Anything over 102 degrees, that's serious, and that's an emergency. And I'm like, wait a minute. I don't think Romania uses Fahrenheit. Like, why would they? And then I found out that other people, their versions were like, oh no, mine used Celsius too. I was like, why would they translate that for Americans when?
That's
yeah,
weird.
Why would they translate that way? Like, first of all, you didn't translate lei to dollars. That would have made just as much sense. You know, if she's buying cigarettes, you should have translated the currency too. Then, like, okay, then it's like, well, so what purpose are you translating Celsius to Fahrenheit for then? For the Criterion crowd that's buying an art house film from Romania in case they don't know that like Celsius exists. Like, who's that for? Why'd you do that? That was weird.
Yeah, who zoned in on that one?
Yeah,
that's really random.
I'm just gonna fact check myself just to make sure Romania doesn't use Fahrenheit. But I think the only countries are like America, Myanmar, and like one country in Africa. I think that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Romania uses Celsius. Anyway, I'm not going to get too bugged into that. That was just like a tiny thing that I was like, wait, what?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the shots and how they're blocked, it's done in such a minimalist way, but it's like so super effective. The scene where they're arguing about, you know, payment and he's like threatening to leave or whatever, and all of the characters are sitting and the camera is sitting at the same height as the characters. And Gabita stands up and she, makes her plea about, money and blah, 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 blah. And the male character is sitting down still. The camera stays with the male character for that part of the argument. And Gabita, her head is like out of frame. And then as soon as the freakout happens, and this is continuous in the same shot within like a minute or two, the male character stands up while the main character is still sitting down. The male character stands up. The camera follows the male character still. And so I think that like cinematography wise is kind of like implying like a level of like power or control that this character has over the scene that, you know, other characters are out of frame vertically while he continues to stay in frame, whether he continues to sit down or stands up. I think that there could easily be that level of intent there. There's the shot of like the trains between the trains, like very claustrophobic and anxiety inducing. The shot where she's like about to catch the bus, I really loved. She has to like run down, and just the blocking and pacing of everything. I think it's like superb, super well made movie.
How many times have you seen this movie then? It sounds like quite a few.
This is probably my fifth. It's probably my fifth time. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not sure if this for me is one I'm going to be rushing to get back to anytime soon.
Yeah, give it a couple years.
Yeah. No, because it's not fun. It's not trying to be fun at all. It's making a point, and it's just inherently heavy, I suppose. And the minimal style and everything is you got to be ready for it. Basically, I would say like you got to know what you're getting into.
Yeah, for sure.
Just one final thing I want to mention, just because we didn't touch on this. I think the set design is like super, super well done. Like from the moment the shot starts at the beginning of the film, and you can see like, you know, the goldfish bowl that's not really a bowl, and like all of these like personal items strewn along the room. It tells so much about like the characters, right? And the setting itself is a character. You can see like the snow outside, and it's just like this perfect sort of like atmospheric setting. And you can tell that the rooms are like lived in, you know, they don't feel like sets that things were just carefully laid in place for the purpose of like starting a shot. It feels like a very real, very natural setting.
Yeah, even like that painting in the hotel room.
Yeah.
It's like an ugly painting, and they're commenting on it, trying to it's all. It just feels real. Like you don't feel like you're watching actors for a second. It just feels almost, like it's just a documented bit of misery.
Yeah. All right, I said a lot about it. Is anybody else have anything to say about it, or are we all?
Honestly, I think it's one of those movies that pretty much speaks for itself in most ways. Like it's making a very strong point, and doing it with that minimal style it's just everything it would need to be to make this kind of movie, make this kind of point, and it does hammer it home very well without beating you over the head with anything too ridiculous. You know, it's just matter of fact. This is the harsh reality of what things are and have been in certain places.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I'm giving this one a 9 out of 10. Love this movie. Love the director. I hope that I hope that his newest film at Cannes is pretty good, even though I'm not there right now, but
Yeah,
I'll check it out
I'd like to
probably
see
at
that
TIFF or
one.
whatever.
Yeah, I'd like to see that one.
Yeah, it looks like it's
The
doing well.
Celebration, or is that what it's called?
It's called RMN, and the other one's called
RMN.
Graduation. Is
the other
is
one.
the one from
The gra-
2016? Yeah,
Yeah,
Graduation's awesome.
that's the one I want to watch. Yeah. Graduation. Okay, I'm sure his new movie's fine. Yeah, I agree with the message behind it. I'd give it more like an 8, maybe a 7.
Maybe.
Yeah,
I want to watch it again
an
though.
8.
I'm more like a 7 actually. But
Yeah, a few years, then I'll watch it again, perhaps. But I think an 8. Yeah.
I'm not in a rush to rewatch.
It's all good. This is definitely a my kind of movie. Just depressing art house shit. So. But I'm glad we all got to see it. I'm glad that none of you had seen it before. I like introducing people to things. So
Yeah.
two 8s and a 7 and a 9.
Yeah, 7.
Yeah.
Cool, pretty good. All right. I think it's question time.
Is it question time?
Oh boy.
Right, let's do some questions from the Sardonicast community. If you want to leave your own questions, head over to the subreddit where there's a suggestion thread where you can ask us whatever you feel like, just like submissive gay alien did.
Oh.
Stanley Kubrick supposedly enjoyed watching commercials as he was impressed that a full story/idea could be told in such little time. Are there any commercials that stand out in your memory as genuinely good short filmmaking?
Oh, well, the Apple one. I feel like that's the best example.
Which one?
The Apple ad, the 1984 one.
Oh,
yeah.
the
The
like
commercial.
fucking yeah.
The guy
That
on
one.
the guy on the screen, and the guy throws something through it.
I
or
prefer
whatever.
the Fortnite version.
The Fortnite version.
Wow. Well, that's where it came from.
Hmm.
That's like a great commercial. Or
Not a.
it's
not
like
a
one
That's a
movie.
good
David
answer.
Lynch made. There's one David Lynch made for
right.
PS4. I like or PlayStation.
Oh, the
was that the
baby with the
PS3 one with the baby? Yes, I forgot
Yeah.
about the baby.
I didn't know that
Fucking
was
like
Lynch.
random
That's funny.
shit. Yeah. Yeah.
That was so demented.
Yeah.
It
Awesome.
reminded me of what is it? Train Spotting with the baby
Oh.
on the ceiling.
Yeah.
Oh, that was.
I'm just
so
gonna make sure we're
creepy.
thinking of the same ones, just so I don't.
PlayStation has some really weird adverts, actually. Like that
Yeah, that's
scroll
why
on
they have a
animated
lot of
squirrel
They
weird ones.
used
I don't
to.
know.
I don't
If the
think
one
they're
you're
going
thinking
for
of
that
is David
anymore.
Lynch.
Oh, not anymore.
Yeah.
No, that was the PS3. They were weird during the PS3 era.
Yeah. I love there's something really nostalgic to me about like the decade of like 2000s where it was all sort of just like responsive to the 90s.
Yeah,
It was like a
experimenting.
referendum.
Yeah.
It's like we're gonna just do weird shit for
Just
no
throw
reason.
everything at the wall.
We had the edgiest television
traumatize
shows
a
on.
bunch of like, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not
Um,
cinematic, but I really liked the Geico ape commercials with
Mhm.
the cavemen. Yeah.
Classics.
I always, like, anytime there was a new caveman commercial, I was 100% invested.
I
Oh,
think
there it
that
That's the David Lynch one.
the Old Spice commercials, Tim and Eric directed those. I think they did a awesome job.
Did they?
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
Oh. Really?
Oh, I had no
Yeah.
idea they directed
What
those.
the fuck?
Yeah,
Makes
it's
so
crazy.
much sense.
The one with the guy on the horse or whatever?
Yeah.
Or-
They started that whole thing. They're like
Yeah,
really
'cause those
Wow.
are everywhere in meme culture.
That's
aren't they? Yeah.
crazy. I had no idea. Yeah, that seems
that
like
makes a lot of sense actually. Now you're telling me.
yeah. It
Yeah.
makes sense, and that was actually a good ad. Like I
the
remember.
Terry
Yeah.
Crews. That permeated the culture for sure. That was like everybody. Yeah, very successful ad campaign. I think one of my favorite ads is the Lego Movie. It's the most cinematic
whole
ad.
movie.
Yeah, it's
They
got
made
a
a
whole
movie out of it.
narrative,
It's pretty good.
Yeah, we got a few
Oh.
of those now. To be honest, like I way remember ads that annoy me more than the ones
That's
I
unfortunate.
quote unquote enjoy, because I do everything in my power to avoid adverts. Like, the only time I really see them is going to the movie theater, and I'm forced to watch them. And if they're bad enough, I'll like note them down on my phone. Got some weird ones. Like, did you guys have the whole series of like M&M adverts where the M&M was like fucking that guy's wife? It was really fucking
What?
weird.
What? That sounds awful.
The
What the
Eminem
fuck?
cuck campaign.
it's like-
Whatever you're talking about.
Basically, yeah, it's like a guy coming home from work, and in the bed is like an M&M with his wife. It's like fucking really weird.
I'll have to look
It's like a
into
whole
that.
series.
Oh, I don't.
That sounds
I remember
demented, yeah.
There's been a lot of really messed up M&M commercials, but I don't remember a cucking one at all.
That's very funny.
I remember the one for Goldfish, and there was like this reoccurring or like running storyline throughout the commercials. Like I've never seen that before with commercials. Like the Goldfish had this like continuing story, so you had to watch like all 50 commercials to like understand. It's fucking weird. I remember that from when I was a kid.
Yeah. The GC.
I don't think I've seen them all either. The Goldfish cinematic universe.
Yeah. You gotta watch all of them to understand.
Yeah.
What do you think Stanley Kubrick would think of commercials now, though? I'm sure that it's quite a bit different compared to the type of stuff he would have been watching back in the day.
Who
surely,
knows? I mean,
like that's another thing that kind of gets under my skin. Just seeing like the visual effects just being flaunted in these like car commercials with this ridiculous like special effects. It just seems like, is this really necessary?
I think most commercials are
whatever,
absolutely irritating and annoying. And I'm just like, I get upset that there was like a team of people that were paid to come up with it, and I'm like, you fucking idiot! I get so mad.
Well. Yeah.
It
I could do a better job. Sparingly.
Yeah, watch Mad Men.
Remember the Five Alive commercials? Those ones were really heavily edited, but it kind of works because they're trying to advertise the drink as being crazy.
Yeah, you just I just got that jingle in my head now. That's like a buried.
Yeah, the robot.
Feel alive. Yeah.
And then it's just like, it depends what you do with the format. You can make a good ad, just like a movie is kind of an ad, like you said. It just depends on what like the creative team does with the amount of time and like with the resources. You can make a good ad. They're just kind of rare. Like good movies are rare.
Yeah.
Although good movies are more common than good ads, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true.
There's very few I actually really like, for sure. Because, it's just like you're being forced to watch something you just have no interest in, basically, right? That's like most ads. It's just like, okay, it's just this random fucking 30-second thing I just don't care about.
Yeah.
Yeah. The best ones are like, that are either just funny, or they're like, I don't know, it's something you like or you think is cool. Or it's like a really great ad, like the Apple one. That's like one of the few. Yeah.
I was in the theater, and one of the ads, it honestly looked like it was for Jurassic Park, and it was like a Jeep commercial or something.
Yeah, car commercials.
Oh, I hate when they do that.
Yeah, they're never about the car because they can't say anything about the car because it's just the new car and they don't do anything. What are you gonna? Yeah, this car can drive, and it's like basically the same as last year. So you have to sell an identity.
Yeah.
You're like, this is one for families, and you can fit your child seat in the back. Like that's.
Yeah,
as far as this one's for people who go to the club and like music.
Awesome.
Yeah.
This one's for weird David Lynch fans.
The ad just has nothing to do with like the thing. Right?
Never does.
That's how Coca-Cola ads are.
Yeah.
Coca-Cola ads are just like a random thing, and then it's like Coca-Cola at the end. Like it could have been a car ad. Like it could have been an ad for anything.
Yeah. What are you going to say about it?
Yeah.
You know what it tastes like.
It's just about putting Coca-Cola.
It's about reminding you that the brand exists and having this weird like superiority supremacy sort of thing going on. Like, we are the default brand. We are the default. Everything else is a knockoff. And if you have the most commercials out, then that works.
Yeah, it does. It does work.
Yeah.
Do you guys in your countries have like the whole cult of personality, like characters that come up through adverts? Like in the UK, there's a big one that compare the meerkat, and there are these like fully animated CG the CG like adverts for this like insurance comparison website, and it like caught off into this whole thing, so you can buy like plushies of this fucking meerkat voiced by some like British celebrity. Yeah, and there's like the Halifax bank guy. That's like a whole thing in the UK. Like people know because of the
I kind of like that
adverts.
though.
Wow.
Kind of reminds me of the cereal mascots.
I mean, I'm sure you could buy like a plushie of the Geico gecko or something. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Mascots exist for brands.
Yeah. Or the cavemen.
Yeah.
They gave him a show. Did you know?
Yes, they did.
It lasted, it was very
quick. And they fucked it up somehow.
Well, it's not a great concept for a show.
Yeah, you can only do
It was just weird because the actor that most people responded to, the guy who just like, he just looked like a Neanderthal. He just did it perfectly. They had him as a side character, so it was weird, and the writing was not that great. Yeah.
Sergeant Shield as our next one. Where is the perfect place to sit in a theatre? Do you go near the front or back?
the middle.
Yeah.
Who actually? Why do they even have the front rows? You know, like I know there's
Right,
obviously got
it's
to be a
way
front,
too close.
but like who actually
Mhm.
is that anyone's favorite
You're
seat? in
looking
the
up
house?
the
It's
whole
no one's
time.
favorite seat, but if you the theater's sold out and it's the only place left,
Right, that's what those are
then
for.
you can show up and you can judge whether or not you want to watch the whole movie like that, if it's worth it to you. That was actually my.
That's what it's
Be a
for.
third
It's
of the
for
price
people
or
who like
something.
get their tickets last minute, can't find a
Yeah,
seat.
well,
or
there was
something
only
like that.
one
Yeah, that's what
screening
the
for
front row's
Everything
for.
Everywhere All at Once. It was like a special like press screening sort of thing that they sold a couple of tickets to the public for, and that's all I could get for my first showing. And so it was really like I had for the subtitles I had to be like move my head a little, but it was
dear.
still like a great, amazing
Yeah, it's
theater.
hard
I still
to
experienced
sit
the
through.
movie.
Sure, it's harder to sit.
Yeah,
I saw
I can't do it
Spider-Man
for-
kind of up close the
Yeah.
first time I saw it. The Spider-Man No Way Home because the tickets were kind of limited.
Yeah.
But I still saw it like I wasn't the first row. I was like kind of the third or fourth row, kind of toward the right side. So it wasn't
Yeah,
like
that can
great.
be okay.
Yeah, but I wasn't like moving my head, right? If you're like moving your head, like when I saw this Star Trek movie, the J.J. Abrams one, that was really bad. I saw it in IMAX, like at the front row.
Yeah.
I was like looking up like the whole movie, and like every time it would like cut between like shot, reverse shot, I had to like move my head like left, right, left. Like it was really bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like sitting in the front row. I remember I saw Spy Kids 3D when I was really small in the
Yes.
front row. I wanted to vomit. I was so sick.
Yeah. Oh, a 3D movie.
Yeah, and it was the red
that
and
must be
blue
bad.
glasses. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
those
surely
fucking
3D
things-
just like doesn't
those
even
things
really
suck.
work in the front rows.
The red and blue glasses that were like.
They actually
plastic.
gave you headaches. Like, I just. Yikes.
Yeah, 3D is better now. Yeah.
Is it? What was the last 3D movie you saw? I can't even. I can't
Oh
even think.
boy,
Oh, it's
yeah.
been a
There's
long
so
time.
many
Oh.
3D movies that come out where I intentionally get the 2D showing now.
Yeah, me
Like,
too.
yeah, I'm so done with it. The last time I watched a 3D movie must have been like when I was forced to, when it was like the only showings,
Mm-hmm.
which
Yeah.
so sometime in like
I remember-
2010 or something.
Yeah, like around then, like when Avatar came out, that's when it became big. It was kind of hard to get like a 2D showing
I
for
know.
a while because they were just
That's
showing
annoying.
everything in 3D because they wanted to make more money.
Yeah,
Even
they
if it
just
looked like
price
shit.
gouge.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like Thor
feel
looked
like-
terrible in 3D.
I saw it in 3D. That was the last
Yeah.
one I saw.
It's way too dark. It just looked
Yeah.
terrible. Yeah, like Life of Pi looks good.
hmm
I would say sit in the middle toward the back for a movie,
yeah. I'm with
unless
you.
you're late. Then take what you
Yeah,
can get, I guess.
I'm like middle, but like closer to the front than the back, but not so far
Mm.
front. I like
Yeah.
a good like
When I saw
cover most
Men
of my
or-
peripherals sort of thing.
Yeah, when I saw Men or Everything All at Once, I was right in the middle toward the back, with like perfect
Mhm.
seating. Like that's the way to watch it. Yeah, it's like great. Everything's in your field of vision. Yeah,
I feel like the back of the theater is where more people go where they want to like talk. You know, I feel like
the
I feel
very
like there's-
back. Yeah.
yeah, there's people that like hide in the back because they're like I want to talk with someone.
When I saw Jigsaw, I sat in the back because I was like laughing at it. But
Yeah.
yeah, you're right. That's why I try to sit more toward the middle.
Mhm.
In the middle, like everyone's like respectful because they're like the most because those are actually the good seats.
It's like the bourgeoisie seats right there, like the upper
Yeah.
class.
And then people talk in the back, and then people in the front are late or whatever.
No, it was awesome when I went to see Morbius because I could try out all the seats because it was just completely
shit.
empty. So I just keep-
You got
That's
morbed?
funny.
Oh, I got
It's
mobbed.
Morbid time.
I got mobbed big time.
Yeah, man, I wasn't even into those memes, and now I just can't stop. That was
Yeah,
like
now they're great.
my whole stream yesterday was
Morbid
just me
time.
saying Morbin time.
It's Morbid time.
Yeah, it just catches on eventually. It's infectious. Jesus, I can hear Jared Leto say it too. I'm like, I'm imagining it perfectly. It's Morbin time. Yeah, I've got a question for Raven. What's your favorite movie?
Yeah.
Oh, that's hard.
Do you have
I
a
have like
handful?
a tier list.
Sure.
Yeah. Like the Big Lebowski. I
Oh,
really
hell
love
yeah.
RoboCop actually. That's like I think that's number one because
Ooh, cool.
it has something for everybody. So if you're just into action movies and you like want to kill like an hour and a half, just watch RoboCop. But there's also like a deeper context to it where it talks about gentrification and just a slew of issues. I just think it's a really smart and funny film.
Yeah.
And then there's The Dark Crystal or This Is England and The Nightmare Before Christmas. I have like a list of ones that people have to see when I meet them.
Yeah, Alex loves a lot of those movies that you just mentioned.
Yeah, you're in good company here. I gotta recommend The Big Lebowski. So.
Yeah.
Let's get our opinion on this one from Big C Baller. Do you think Disney is ever going to make 2D movies anymore? Or do you think they'll only make them again if they see other studios making successful 2D movies? I watched some of that Chip and Dale thing.
Oh, yeah. What'd you think of that?
Not very good.
Cancer.
No,
it's very irritating to me how it's kind of presenting itself as a spiritual successor to Roger Rabbit in a way.
Yeah.
Except it's more kind of embracing this weird. I've forgotten the name of the kind of art style.
Cell shaded.
It's still CG cell shaded. That's the one.
Cell shaded 3D.
Yeah, where one of them's like a horrifying CG monster, and the other one's this cell shaded thing.
Neither of them look good.
The implication is that it's supposed to be like 2D animation. Even
yeah,
though
they're
it
just
looks
lying
like
about what
trash.
they're doing. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, even though there is some 2D animation in the movie.
I kind of wanted to see it only after I saw Ugly Sonic. That was the only selling point for me.
Oh man,
yeah. It's really the only notable thing in the movie.
What's selling me on it is the director.
Yeah, it was
Director
the pop star
of,
guy, right? The Lonely Island
the
guy,
director of The Watch.
Oh no.
With
Well,
Ben Stiller,
Alex and I have
Vince
seen
Vaughn.
it. If you want to watch it before next episode, we can have a discussion on it.
The Chip and Dale thing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'll watch that.
Okay.
Yeah,
I was
it's on
actually
Disney Plus,
interested.
so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll check it out. Sure.
Yeah.
I love Roger Rabbit. Yeah, that's probably one of my favorites.
Yeah, that's how you do it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But good luck if we want to go back to the question and the prospect of Disney making 2D movies.
Yeah, not real
doesn't seem
2D.
that hopeful to me.
It's like they're
Yeah, unless there's some kind of branch on Disney Plus they could like.
because this is the part of the problem
venture
is
into.
like this was a straight to Disney Plus thing where they had clearly they were keeping budget in mind and they weren't really giving it their best efforts with the cell shaded 3D and even the ones that were 2D, like when you see like Flounder, it's like, okay, there's a gigantic drop off in quality from The Little Mermaid to what you're showing, and you're pretending it's, the
Disney
same, and
animation.
it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so it's like, digital
Whereas in
2D.
Roger Rabbit is the same.
Yeah, and I would love to see, whether it's hand drawn or digital, just something that feels like traditional 2D animation. Where there aren't these weird like computer imagining the frames in between sort of things. Like I would love to, like Cuphead looks fucking amazing. That's, that's a hand drawn thing where I'm assuming they do it into a tablet and not a piece of paper. So like, I don't know, is that digital?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's the same process as traditional either way. So you
It's
can
just time and money.
Yeah, you can still make things that look fantastic. You just have to actually put your heart and effort, or at least commitment financially or otherwise, into it. It's just Disney's not doing that.
Yeah,
They're going
it's
to
a
pretend
commitment,
to.
yeah.
I feel like they're going to make hey, this is 2D again, and they're going to pull a Princess and the Frog or something.
Yeah.
You know?
I almost wonder if they might lean back into it when Enchanted 2 comes out, because there were some 2D scenes in there. It wasn't that much, but yeah.
Well, as a businessman, let me try to think of what Disney would do. Yeah, I don't think they want to make 2D again, like ever.
They'll do
I don't
something.
think it's ever gonna. It might be a while.
Because I mean,
Yeah,
they
like
love
a couple movies, but it won't be
nostalgic
like
cash
they
grabs,
used to
right?
make. They used to make 2D nonstop. Like that's all
Well,
they
now
did.
2D is nostalgic.
It'll never
though.
be like that again.
So that for nostalgic
Yeah,
reasons,
I think,
they have to.
Is it nostalgic though?
I'm
For a
almost
lot of
surprised
people,
there
yeah.
hasn't been another studio that just like makes 2D films. It kind of capitalizes off that niche.
they
at this
are in
point, 'cause I
Ireland.
feel like there is a market. Yeah, well, I mean,
Yeah.
in America or anywhere here, like there should be a market, or I feel like there is a market for like those
Japan and
2D
Ireland.
animated movies.
And France,
But
actually.
Disney's
There's a
not
good amount
gonna
of 2D
do
coming
it.
from France.
Disney's not going to.
Is it a
give them
cost issue? Because
chance.
hasn't 2D animation got to a point where it's not as expensive as it used to be?
No, it's
since
not
they
expensive
rely
to
on
do
the
either.
computer?
That's why I'm wondering why another
Yeah,
studio,
both
like
are
an indie studio,
expensive.
kind of like A24,
It depends on
does
how
something
you
like
do
that.
it.
Like A24 should do 2D animated
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
A24 is
That would be
doing
cool.
the Has Been Hotel thing right now, so I guess
Oh, I
they're
don't even know what
technically.
that is.
Oh, really? I didn't know about that.
Yeah, they picked it up.
Yeah.
They're going to be doing like a television series.
It's a show?
A24. Yeah,
Oh.
Has Been Hotel. Oh wow, yeah, that's news from like a year ago. So I'd be interested to see how that works out. But yeah, that's 2D A24. So
I didn't know A24 did like show type stuff from it being. Right
A24 is Euphoria
Yeah.
right now. That's a show.
Oh, that's them. Okay,
Oh.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
But 2D is always relegated to like TV now, or like series, like Invincible or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, it's always
Yeah.
2D. Like it's not movies so much now.
That show messed me
Yeah,
up.
in
I
the
want to see a
A24
good
thing.
feature film in TV.
Yeah, I want to just like.
I mean,
feature
like
film.
they exist, just not in America. Like Wolfwalkers came
Yeah,
out
they're not in
recently.
America.
It's just not in America. Like Japan hasn't stopped.
Yeah.
Like their highest grossing
Yeah.
film ever is like Demon Slayer right now. Like
True.
yeah, it's just America, really. Like
Yeah, it's just different.
yeah,
Different audience. Yeah.
Disney has decided that it's not good.
Well, is Disney gonna top like The Little Mermaid, or I feel like they could. They just maybe they don't want to at this point. They would rather
They just go
invest
where the
in
money
like
is,
making
and the money's
yeah,
in just big
making
CG
3D
remakes.
animated. Right.
Yeah.
Exactly where
We'll
the
just
money
get
is.
get this
exactly.
current trend out of their system. Give it another 5-10 years. I'm sure.
But then
do
they'll find
something
another
else.
trend that's even
Exactly.
bigger, and
Yeah.
then which
In
none of us
5
can
10
predict.
years, and they can just
I just want to
remake
see
something
something
else.
that looks
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Treasure Planet,
Yeah,
but with a
Yeah.
good story.
yeah, just
Yeah,
a nice
of course.
animation, just nice 2D.
Aladdin. Or yeah.
There's so much
Yeah.
artistry
They always take
in
the
it.
wrong thing away from their failures.
Yeah,
It's so annoying.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Like there's
Yeah.
certainly artistry in 3D animation as well, but like there's some. I wish I could see more of 2D. There's something special about it. There's something.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's
Yeah.
something that just.
There's a market
hits-
for it for
yeah.
sure, and there should be more. Like there should be just studios making 2D like all the time in America. I don't know why there aren't. Like I feel like there's very few. I know Leica. I don't even know if that's America. They do stop motion.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
you got a
That's all
couple
they do.
stop motion
California,
studios, Aardman as well.
Yeah, you have stop motion studios. Yeah, Aardman, but there's no.
And
like,
that makes
2D,
me
really.
sad because I like watching a lot of what's his name? He did the Dark Crystal and Sesame Street, The Puppeteer.
Henson.
Hanson,
Yes, a lot
Mm.
of Jim Henson shows. Like I think they have like their own unique quality to it, but they don't last because apparently it's really expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, that was the curse of that last Dark Crystal show. It was obviously really expensive.
Yeah. Season
Yeah.
2 is canceled.
Mm-hmm.
Big oops.
Yeah, I'm very upset.
When you have to do those things in real life, it's so expensive. Like the sets and the costumes, you need a space to rent. Like you need a warehouse, right? Like all this fucking shit, lighting. 2D, I think it's just much easier to kind of tell a story like that over like a series because you don't need to like keep sets around or whatever, props
Yeah.
or whatever. You just draw whatever. You got to pay the animators, you know, which
Mhm.
they don't even do that in Hollywood. But
They really don't.
no,
Yeah, just outsource.
I think that's actually part of the
Big
reason
time
of
fools.
that I could be wrong, but I'm now remembering like a weird factoid that I hope isn't some misinformation. But I think part of the reason why they switched to like 3D animators is because they like weren't unionized. Like
Yeah,
I think
sure,
I
that
think
makes
2D
sense.
animators were like a part of a union and 3D wasn't or something because it was considered like a part of like a
Mhm.
special effects company. Like I don't know, that could be completely false. Don't
Mhm.
quote me as the source for that. I'm not going to look into it. Do your own research. Let me know in the comments section. Thank you. I'm not going on a deep dive right now.
Infinite Stripes Forever has one for us, which kind of feeds into something we were talking about earlier. Where do you draw the line with product placement? How much is too much? And what is wrong with too much? If you lived in Los Angeles and two superheroes came down and fought, it would look like Man of Steel, with 7-Elevens and IHOPs everywhere. Maybe the framing of the product placement was forced, but realistically there would be a recognizable brand on every corner. Would you prefer only fake products for films or just set amount that works with the plot?
I kind of feel like my opinion on it has changed a little bit. Because I never really noticed product placement before in movies, unless it was really, really obvious or some kind of joke or something. But
Yeah.
I think what
Wayne's
made me
World.
change my mind was the whole, yeah, that's a great example. What actually shifted it was making YouTube videos. I'm sure you guys know.
That'll do it.
It's kind of necessary. Well, it is necessary actually, not kind of. And then when I think about actual television commercials, we would sit through like 5 commercials when watching a 20-minute TV show, and we didn't really complain that much So when I think about YouTube, it's essentially the same thing because YouTube is a business now, right? So I don't think I'm as strict about it anymore.
Mm-hmm. I don't judge people too hard that do it. I just don't do it myself for like if I like ads before a video, if people want to pay to not have the ads or like ad block or whatever, it's like, okay, fine. People can support me on Patreon. That's like a good way to just be able to make a living off of it without if people want to have ad blocks
straight to the horse's mouth, as it were.
Yeah, to the horse's mouth. And in films, I like what Quentin Tarantino does. He has his own like universe of like,
Big Kahuna Burger.
I like that.
His own stuff.
And David Fincher, I know he does it all the time. And
his makes
okay
more
with
sense.
it.
It's like a fridge. Like when you open a fridge, you're gonna see like a Coke can.
Yeah,
right? I don't like the question.
It doesn't feel gratuitous
how the
like
question...
World War Z.
Yeah, sure. That scene. You edited it like a Coca-Cola commercial. And it's like you could edit this. That's how like gratuitous.
It's what it was.
I don't like
the film for Pepsi.
That's
break.
what I mean. I don't like this question and how it's framing Man of Steel like it's like a good movie or something. Like I don't know if that was their intention or whatever. But like the scene, like okay, like Superman walks by an IHOP or something, or like he's fighting and there's an IHOP in the background. Okay, but there's like they go in the IHOP. And, like, the kid who bullied him in school from, like, the flashback part of the movie was, like, working at the IHOP. Like, it's, like, fucking ridiculous, man.
How much are you going to grind your
so
movie
gratuitous.
to wedge this stuff in? Like, like that Ghostbusters movie that came out recently with Walmart. Yeah, it's just, like, too much.
With the Walmart. Right. It's too much. That's, like, you don't have to go in the Walmart and fucking hang out. And, like, we're, like, at the Popeyes and Supergirl.
That was funny.
Yeah, let's all go to Popeyes.
It's
like a
as
bunch
long
of
as it
college
doesn't
girls
feel
go to
like
Popeyes.
gratuitous, there's ways in which it can be done, and like there's some films where I don't know if it was a product placement or not. Like they go into a McDonald's in the Safdie brothers film Heaven Knows What, but I'm like, they're all junkies. I don't think McDonald's this seems more incidental. I like that, but it's like I don't even think that was a product placement. Like I don't. It depends on how it's handled. It really,
I believe a defender of product placement is J.J. Abrams. I believe he's like a big like defender of like it makes audiences kind of like connect with the world, kind of and I think his movies have that. And I'm not completely opposed to it. I don't think I'd lower my rating significantly for like a product placement. That's what I mean. If it's like
depends on how it's done.
Unless it's like really
I only
gratuitous.
would if it was something super egregious. Yeah, like when they have like resorts and Adam Sandler movies and like Paul Blart Mall Cop 2 and stuff where they can go to like a casino. It's like, come to the casino, everybody. It's an advert for the casino.
Right.
Michael Bay films never seem like subtle about it. There was in his film The Island, they're all like futuristically like doing this like fighting thing, and there's this gigantic banners for like original Xbox in the background. I was like, this is the future. Like, you still got like original Xbox.
I'd forgotten about that.
That's funny.
That was
what
fun.
A weird movie. A clone movie.
Doesn't even make sense. Yeah, Michael Bay is a pretty bad he's pretty bad with the product placement. His movies have a lot. The Transformers movies are just car ads, basically. But even those have tons of product placement in them. It's just like a ridiculous amount. Like Bud Light, I think, one scene. They like crash into a Bud Light truck. That's right, in Transformers 4.
Oh no, my Bud Light.
Like, yeah, and there's like a close-up. Mark Wahlberg drinks one of them, and there's like a close-up of the Bud Light with like flames around it. It looks really cool, because... Yeah, it's like, delicious. Because Michael Bay comes from that background of directing commercials, so that's how all of his movies look. They look like fucking car commercials.
Yeah, true. So true.
They really do. Oh my god.
Yeah. That's why he's perfect for Transformers.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, true. Okay, let's end on this one from Invader Zoe and close the loop. If there was a specific life choice you made in the past that caused a branch version of yourself a la multiverse, what do you think was the thing that would cause you to be the most varied version of yourself? Thanks.
What? How do you become the most varied version? I don't understand that question at all.
Yeah, weird
like
phrasing. I guess
the one
they
decision
mean
that you make. So like there's one decision that
in
has
a swamp. That's like the most like I was born as a lizard, which is I think one of the
That was like one of the things in the movie, I think, Everything All at Once. She's like one of the flash frames, like she's a lizard person. I'm like, what the fuck is that? Yeah.
Do they mean
like
like
that.
what's one thing that you've done in your life that would have caused a bunch of multiple outcomes? Is that what they're asking?
A specific point in time. Like I'll give my example. Something that has been on my mind, and I ponder about sometimes. Because when I was 3 years old, my family left New Zealand and moved to the UK. So sometimes I imagine what the version of me that stayed there would be like, and what would be different about me, and that kind of side of it. And I feel like that's like an obvious point of like the timeline splitting, the universe is splitting in some way.
There's like a billion. There's like a billion for me, and like I mean, like there's no. There's so many. There's so many. I can't.
Okay, phrase it this way then. If you got the technology from Everything Everywhere All at Once, what would you try and imagine just to see out of pure curiosity? What would be the where you jump to? Just to look at?
No, that's cool.
If the girl that left her crystal meth pipe at my house told me what the drug was after I wanted more, I'd probably be homeless on the street.
What the fuck?
I don't know.
Bro.
That was
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's the one.
I don't know.
Damn, mine is just if I wasn't homeschooled, like mine is.
Yeah, there's a
I was
lot. There's a
homeschooled
lot for me.
from kindergarten to, or from the 1st grade to the 6th grade. So that was a good chunk of time where I was just very Rod and Todd from The Simpsons. So I think I would have been a completely different person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's more things that affect your life than you even know about. Like all of this, the chemical makeup of your brain is, that's like something from birth, and nature and nurture play a role. Like what would have happened if I didn't see The Lion King when I was a little boy?
Oh my god,
my life would have been very different.
That's true.
Yeah.
How many of you cried when you watched The Lion King? I did.
I did.
Watched it a couple years ago, so no, but
Yeah, Ralph saw it for the first time recently, but like there's the Stampede scene, the way that like musically, I just like I tear up still. Even just like listening to the soundtrack. I think it's like one of the best
Me too.
scores
majestic.
ever.
Yeah, it's an incredible piece of music.
Yeah.
Hans Zimmer. Did you see the Broadway show ever? Any of you?
Anyone? I've seen bits of it. I'm not a big fan of it. I prefer the 2D. It's like not the same characters that I love, I'm like, this is just a version of it that's not
animals.
as good.
Yeah, it's weird that they're animals. Yeah, like
it's a bit longer and has more songs, doesn't it?
I think so. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the movie version's definitely tighter, probably better. But yeah, appreciate both.
Let's do this one from Professor Trilobite. What are some examples of genuinely good films or media that you think have had negative effects on whatever genre or the medium they're in? While I personally love the Jurassic Park series, I feel that the movies have had a negative effect on dinosaur films, with almost every movie afterwards trying to recapture its success, leading to countless cheap knockoffs, or studios not willing to produce live-action, serious dinosaur movies out of fear of being compared to the series.
That's a good question.
Interesting.
You mentioned the Lego movie, but that would be my pick.
Yeah.
Good movie, awesome movie. The ripple effect that film has had is like so bad.
Yeah. Other movies try to...
Every movie tries to copy it. Free Guy. It's just that same fucking format. Like he's a normal guy, but he feels too normal, but so he tries to stand out or whatever.
Like the Playmobil tried it
because blah blah blah. Whatever.
The Avengers.
It's the same.
That's influenced a lot of studios into making like.
Into these damn.
We're starting the dark universe here. Like okay.
The only one that made sense is like DC, like Batman. Like okay, those are also superheroes. We knew that was going to happen because there's always like two of everything, like these, Coke or Pepsi or whatever. So we have DC and Marvel. But yeah, like we didn't need the Marvel, we didn't need the Mummy universe or whatever the hell.
Oh yeah, wasn't it the 5-year?
It was like Godzilla and stuff.
Just about Yeah, like Godzilla. They made some cinematic universe with like King Kong now. It's like, oh my god, like, give me a break. Like it doesn't
work, like in most cases. It just falls apart. Usually, Marvel has material, and so does DC, to its credit. Like they somehow made like something interesting out of Suicide Squad somehow, like with this new movie that James Gunn directed, like with like Polka Dot Man. I'm like, how the fuck do you make a movie with Polka Dot Man? Like they somehow made it like more,
goof it up,
like in a fun way. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so, like,
no
this
superhero
could work.
character is irredeemable. You just have to tackle it in the right way. If it's like, oh, this would
It's
be a
just like,
joke,
at this
then
point,
sure, make it
yeah.
a joke. Make it a joke.
Yeah, exactly.
not?
Like, there's no point. I feel like at this point, it's not. There's no character that's too goofy. Like they're all goofy. Like you can't say like, oh, this one's too over the top or too silly. They're all like fucking ridiculous, right? Like even Captain America's silly. All
But
these.
even that's becoming like a trope within like the MCU, and it like referencing how silly it is. Like the latest like movie saying, "Yeah, Spider-Man, he shoots webs out of his butt or something, right? This is all just dumb." Or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I could,
You can't like not address it.
if I could pinpoint what film is responsible for like leading to the Chippendale Rescue Rangers meta like insistence of its self-awareness without being self-aware, if I could pinpoint what's responsible for that, I would say that. I don't know if it's just Birdman winning Best Picture, where it's like, oh, meta is like I don't know what
Did you
happened.
not say Deadpool somewhat?
Deadpool, maybe, I don't know.
Bit of Rick and Morty.
But like something
Deadpool.
happened where now it's like the meta can excuse everything. You can just be like, this is a bad joke, and then people go, woo.
Yeah,
Like-
yeah. Just acknowledge that your writing's
Like,
bad.
I'm
and everyone loves
self-aware.
it.
Yeah.
Isn't that funny?
This is a cash grab. Woo! Like, I'm sorry.
I think
like,
Deadpool
is
definitely
it really that
had
simple?
a huge impact.
I don't know. That movie annoyed the fuck out of me. I'll have a funny video on it soon.
Yeah, it's usually good movies too that start these bad trends. That's the sad thing.
Yeah, it's successful,
Yeah,
and
it's the
then
follow
you
leader.
replicate.
Yeah.
the success.
Yeah, people try to copy it, right? Like I'm sure everything all at once will spawn imitators trying
Perhaps,
to
yeah.
be,
Yeah.
crazy, zany, absurd
Oh, man.
films about multiverses or whatever with like crazy.
there's
editing,
a lot
and
of
it'll
that
just
right
be
now.
Yeah,
Well,
lots of
those movies will be
multiverses around the moment.
obnoxious.
Yeah, I do
Unlike-
not want to
yeah,
see
unlike this
the attempt at that film made by someone like with cynical reasons.
Yeah, right.
All right, cool. I guess that does it for questions.
Okay.
And we
So
have.
is it my turn or
it is your turn.
or Alex?
It is Ralph's turn.
It is
to
my
recommend a
turn?
film. Yes.
What
Okay.
have you got?
I'll recommend a film. So I saw someone say we should do like a double feature because we haven't done that in a while. I'm like, yeah, I think that's a good idea if you guys aren't opposed to it.
Sure.
I'm gonna recommend Blade and Blade 2.
Okay.
But you can just
Okay.
watch Blade. You can watch Blade 2 if you want. You don't have to watch Blade.
Cool.
All right.
So yeah, I'm gonna watch both. And there's more Blade movies than that, but watch
so-
Blade 2.
Okay.
And if you have time, watch Blade.
Guillermo del Toro.
So the Guillermo
Yeah.
one, yeah.
Yeah.
I always forget he directed that.
He directed the second one.
I have not seen either, so this will be cool for me.
Yeah. I'm
Oh,
sure
cool.
you'll get a kick out of it. This is a superhero movie, but it's like before like
yeah,
we were saying,
before it was
Avengers.
a
It's
thing.
very different.
It's a very different era for like
Yeah.
superhero
Oh, yeah.
movies. Very
Yeah.
different time. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
it's been a
rated
long
R,
time.
yeah. So
Okay,
and
awesome.
Wesley Snipes. Yeah, and Ron Perlman.
All right,
Okay,
so
that's it.
if you haven't seen Blade or Blade 2, watch it before the next episode. These episodes come out every 2 weeks, but you can listen to them early by going to sardonicast.com. Sign up for premium. It's only $2 a month. You get to hear these episodes as they're edited. Also, patreon.com/sardonicast. Also, we got merch. Link in the description. Also, there's a Sardonicast highlights channel. You should subscribe to that and watch some stuff. We're almost at the amount of watch hours where we can monetize the channel. Follow the social medias, Reddit, Twitter, blah, 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 blah. And check out Raven's channel, Bobdunga. Is there
Yay.
anything else you would like to plug, Raven?
Coming out with part 2 to my recent documentary, so that should be out in a couple of weeks, I think.
Cool.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, check out Bobdunga on YouTube
Yes.
for that docuseries. All right, thank you so much. That was thanks for joining. That was great.
Yeah.
Great to have you.
Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Thanks for listening, everybody. Happy
Well
Shrek.
done.
Bye bye, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye.